extemporaneously during the time that I responded. I want you to like this page and share it. You're going to have a lot of fun with this. Like this page and share it. Here's one. Are you waiting on the illusion of perfection before you go live with your life? See, a lot of people, they procrastinate. Well, I'm not good enough yet. You're not good enough yet. Are you waiting on the illusion of perfection before you go live with your life? Are you aware of the fact that you will fail your way to success? Are you aware of the fact that you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great? Are you willing to let something die in you today that you should be going live with tomorrow, waiting on the illusion of perfection? That was one. Let me go to another one. I just love this. Okay. Here we are. Are you allowing the fear of tomorrow rob you of the joy of today? This is by Steve. Are you allowing the fear of tomorrow rob you of the joy of today? You know, a lot of people, they have a fear-driven life. And when you have a fear-driven life, that it's been said that most of the fears we have, 95% of them never happen. That the fears that most of us conjure up in our minds and waste a lot of energy over, gain weight over, digging early graves with our teeth, turning our hair gray, or losing weight, never happen. And we allow those fears that we have of what might happen to rob us of the joys of today. No, today is all you have. Life has no duplicate. Enjoy what you have where you are right now. Do what you can where you are with what you have right now, and God will do what you can. He wants us to be joyful. And there's a difference between being joyful and being happy. Being happy, that's dependent upon circumstance. But joy, come on now. Joy passeth all human understanding. What do you mean by that? Because people wonder, how can you be joyful given what's happening to you or given what you've gone through? How can you be joyful given what life has done to you or given your situation? We visited people in the hospital, one in one bed, same condition, just as joyful. Another person, oh, they're, I don't know. The Lord is able. I'm just trying to make it, honey. One foot on the banana peeling and the other one in the graveyard. No, don't allow anything that you worry about rob you of your joy of today, especially if it involves somebody else. Wherever they find themselves, at some point in time, they made an appointment to be there. You control you. You live your life. Stop trying to play God. You can't control nobody. I don't care how much you love them. You can't control their choices and what direction they decide to take their lives in. Oh, that sounds hard. I know. You know what this is? The world's smallest violin playing the world's saddest song. Be joyful. So they were just throwing different quotes, and then they would take their tag and tag it and do their piece with it, or they'll take a part of their story and they'll do their take on their story. And then I'll ask, can I take a swing at that, please? And they said, sure. And when I finished, they say, you know what? You told my story better than I told my story. We have a wonderful community of people who love to change lives. If that's you, if you have a story, you want to learn how to tell it, get it out, make more money with it, increase your cash flow, be a voice of influence, and develop a national and global reputation with your story like I have, I want you to go to hungrytospeak.com. Go there now. Go there to hungrytospeak.com and become a part of our community. And that's really, really to me, the most important part, because when I started out, all I had was Mike Williams, my mentor. Mike Williams, who wrote the book, The Road to Your Best Stuff, and he was coaching me. But when you're in a community of people, and trust me on this, right now, more than ever, it's very important to be in a community of like-minded, positive people who lift your spirit, iron sharpening iron, people who bring value to you, people where you can develop strategic partnerships, people that you can work together, people that are motivated and driven and have a focus of what they want to do with their lives. This is a time, and this is a quote that deals with this. Preparation. Prepare yourself to be positioned so that your life will be in a good place when whatever happens comes your way. Question is, are you willing to be patient with the preparation? See, a lot of people want success right now. They want mastery right now. They want to be great right now. No, it ain't that kind of party. Mastery takes time. It takes time, and it takes coaching, and it takes practice, and it takes being around other people in a group that you feed off each other and give each other strength and hold each other accountable. And magic happens when you do that. Oh, trust me on this.
I want you to think about your goals and dreams. What is it you want to do with your life, particularly now? Because what we know is life is fragile. I was planning not to come out till 2027. And then somebody whispered in my ear, called life. Who said you gonna be here in 2027? I know you want to be. Did you remember Michael Jackson? They spent millions of dollars saying this is it. That was it. But it was not the it they had in mind. Only put off for tomorrow the things that you don't mind dying in you today. And I said, I got to come out. I've been in so long. I've been talking to squirrels. I even have a squirrel friend who's taught me squirreling. Which said right then in squirrely, I'm so glad to be here and talk to you about focusing. Because in order to make it now, with all the distractions that's going on, that you have to focus. You have to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort. A lot of people are focused on entertainment. A lot of people have checked out. A lot of people are snapping, having meltdowns in traffic, road rage, in grocery stores, arguing about toilet paper, family members arguing in the bedroom about their relationship, waking up in the morning and said, you know what? I don't want to do life with you anymore. I feel lonely whenever you are around. I'm out of here. And so as we look at ourselves, look at our goals and dreams, one of the most important things we have to do is focus on what gives you a sense of peace. I've been ending relationships that don't bring value to me and that are not peaceful. See, I've come to know that you don't have to help life bring drama. Life will traumatize you by itself. You don't have to augment and complement the process. But there are people who have a propensity for drama, and any little thing can take them and tilt the needle in that direction. No, this is the time you want to focus on peace. If you don't have a peaceful state of mind, if you don't pour into yourself, a person that don't have a sense of peace, they're subject to snap at any time. That's why we're seeing unexplained violence. We see people that's making dumb, stupid decisions that cause them to throw their lives away because of the decisions they make. When anger goes up, ignorance increases and intelligent thinking goes down. And so this is a time that you want to focus on peace, and then you want to focus on this question: am I on course? Is this the best way for me to live my life right now? And you want to focus on your relationships and ask the question: what is this relationship doing to me? Is it an asset or a liability? Is it bringing out the best of me? Is it holding me accountable? Is it creating the next greatest version of myself? Do I feel good when this person is around me? I have a friend that I was telling her, I said, tell me how you feel when your husband comes near you. And she called me, she said, I feel threatened and uncomfortable. I said, you need to get out of there. I said, that's unhealthy. She'd been having cervical cancer surgery for several years. After she left him, she didn't have any more. There are people who can make you sick. You know, you say, you make me sick? That's real. There's a book I read called Who's the Matter with Me? So you want to focus on the relationships. You want to focus on the environment, because environment, it can determine how you feel about yourself and how you see the world. So I'm saying to you, at this point in time, focus on that which is positive, that can give you a sense of optimism. Focus on the relationships that can empower you, that can hold you accountable. Focus on your strength, so that in events that are going on right now, so you can turn those adversities into your creativity and your advantage. You have greatness in you, and you have to be hungry for greatness. It doesn't happen automatically. You have to work hard. You have to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort. You have the power, authority, and dominion on living life on your terms.
When I ask you how many have big goals and dreams, I want to ask you to think about your goals and dreams in 3 areas. Number 1, what's some personal goal that you have for someone that you love? My first major goal was to buy my mother a home. That's what I wanted to do. I remember walking around these big, beautiful mansions before catching the bus going back to Liberty City and Overtown in Miami, and said, Mama, she said, what is it, Leslie? When I become a man, I'm going to buy you a big, beautiful home just like this. How many have somebody that you like to do something for that's personal to you? Raise your hands, please. Very good. I want you to think about that. I'm going to share with you some strategies how you can make that happen. Next thing is, I want you to think about your financial freedom number. And when you reach that number, when you earn that amount of money, that you will feel a sense of relief. It take a lot of stress out of your life. It give you more time for yourself and for your family. And what that number is, if you wrote it down or if you're thinking about it, I want you to multiply it 100 times. And the reason that I want you to do that, I have found in my own life that most people fail in life not because they aim too high and miss. Most people fail in life because they have done what I did for the first part of my life. Aim too low and hit. And then I want you to think about your social contribution. I believe that we live in the greatest country in the world that allows us to live a life of contribution. Horace Mann said we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. One of the goals I have is to reduce the number of women who die from breast cancer. My mother was a 22-year breast cancer conqueror. One of the goals I have, every time I get on stage, I tell men that I was diagnosed 15 years ago with prostate cancer, given a 2 to 3 year prognosis. One of the things I believe doctors should never tell someone they're terminally ill. What they should say is that my ability to help you has terminated. You can either live your dreams or live your fears. And I think the majority of people actually are not living their dreams, but are living their fears. So I want to ask you a question. What are your fears? What are you afraid of? What are you scared of? Because we all have fears, don't we? We all have something that's blocking us, that's holding us back. And as we begin to look at life, what we realize is that the reason that most people are not living out their true potential, are not doing all of the things that they would really like to do, is because of fear.
Some people call fear false evidence or expectations appearing real. I'm reminded of the story of a guy that was living in an area where he had some new neighbors, and these neighbors had a bulldog. And when he came home every day, this bulldog used to chase him about a half a block from his house. Every day, he would have to streak home. I mean, he would just run. This bulldog would be right on his heels. And so he just got tired of that, because he would go home about a half a block away from home. He would look around for this bulldog, and he wouldn't see him. And he would go walking casually along, and this bulldog come out of nowhere, woo, 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 and start chasing him. He'd run home. So this one day, he just got tired. And so when the bulldog was running after him, he started running. He saw a rock, and he stopped to pick it up to throw at the bulldog. And when the bulldog got up on him, he started barking. He realized the bulldog didn't have any teeth in his mouth. Then he started chasing the bulldog. If you don't get on away from it, because the most the bulldog could have done is gummy, you know. And so, you know what? Most people go through life running scared. Running scared from things that have no teeth in them, because they're false expectations appearing real. That, see, we're brilliant enough to scare ourselves to death. You realize that? There are some people actually who get a kick out of scaring themselves to death. I remember the last frightening movie I saw. It was The Exorcist. I will never forget it. I was so frightened when I came home. I'll never forget. I drove in the driveway, and I had already called my former wife and said, listen, turn the lights on. I was coming in the driveway, and I was getting out of the car, and all of a sudden I couldn't get out. I started blowing my horn. I said, Madeline, they got me, they got me. She came to the kitchen and said, take your seatbelt loose, fool. I said, oh, okay. I was frightened out of my wits. But there are a lot of people who, they get off on that. They love it. I'm a person, my brother is a paratrooper. My twin brother, he's in the military, career man. I would love to jump out of an airplane with a parachute. I'm scared, though. I mean, I really admire my brother for that. I would really love to be macho man like that. What are the things that you fear that's been keeping you from living your dream? That's been keeping you from doing some things that you would like to do? Just think about those things. And how do we begin to handle that? Abraham Maslow said that the life is about growth. And he said, you can either go back to your comfort zone, and there you won't find any growth, or you must be willing to go forward and face your fears again and again and again, because you're never going to have a fear-free existence. I mean, some fear is acceptable and legitimate. There are some things that you really should be afraid of. Now, you shouldn't allow it to immobilize you. You acknowledge it, you take it into account, and you carry yourself accordingly. There are times that we should proceed with caution, but it's the difference between being stopped by fear. It's the difference between having a fear and the fear having you. So what do? One, acknowledge it, and knowing that it's okay. Don't condemn yourself for being afraid. It's perfectly fine to have some fears. You acknowledge your fears, you embrace those fears, and then you move on. You act on whatever it is that you fear. Because once you embrace it, see, what you resist will persist. What you resist will persist. So one of the most important things is to begin to embrace your fear.
I want to talk about that, writing a new chapter. So you've talked about the little voice that people have, the need to create quiet space to hear that. Combine that with the notion of the culture sort of chipping away at people, and whether it's based on race and oppression, or whether it's just the school system teaching you to be a good cog in the machine, or whatever other things people have to fight against. How can people that are listening to this now, especially if they're an adult that's got all those labels put on them, that's had their creativity squished, what process do they do to hear the voice? What sort of communion can they do to create that imagination that's going to allow them to get out of that and move towards something new?
That's the reason why you designed this program, you and your team, for them to do that, that they have to expose themselves to something that will give them a different vision of themselves. And in addition to that, they have to put themselves in a community of what I call OQP, only quality people. A gentleman who dramatically transformed my life, I was a junior at Booker T. Washington High School in Miami, Florida. And I went in his class looking for another friend, and he said, go to the board and work this problem out for me. I said, sir, I can't do that. He said, why not? I said, I'm not one of your students. He said, do it anyhow. And the other kids started laughing, saying, he's Leslie, he's DT. And he said, what's DT? His brother is smart, but he's the dumb twin. And I said, I am, sir. And he came from behind his desk and he pointed at me and said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And he taught me three things. He said, if you want to become successful in life, young man, he said, number one, you got to change your mindset. He said, you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. Number two, practice OQP, only quality people. You earn within $2,000 to $3,000 of your closest friends. I found that out. I left all my broke friends. I said, y'all gotta go. Because I used to be so broke, I'd pass the bank and trip the alarm, you know? And the third thing he said, develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. He said, those are three major things that you want to work on that will liberate you from living in Liberty City, living in poverty in Overtown. It will help to escape out of where you are right now, because I see you watching me and I know you want more. I can see the hunger in your eyes. That's why my book is about to come out called You Gotta Be Hungry.
I love that notion. I love that title. So how do people get hungry?
You get hungry by finding something that's you. I believe that all of us are born unique, but most of us die copies. You got to find out what is it that turns you on, what resonates with you. One of the things that I realized and what allowed me to become successful as a speaker, the speaking industry has been hijacked by people who speak to sell, and it's okay to do that and make money. I speak to change lives because somebody spoke and changed my life. So this is my passion. This is my drive. This is something that I feel in my heart. And so the key to that hunger-driven life is a heart-centered life. I didn't do what I'm doing for years because of my programming, because of the culture in which I was raised in. I would see other people with degrees and PhDs and MBAs and credentials I don't have, and I convinced myself I couldn't do it. But Mr. Washington, on that day, we became friends, and he taught me not only someone's opinion of you does not have to determine your reality. He said that you have to work on yourself and you have to have an unstoppable attitude, and no excuse is acceptable, and you got to make it a priority, a non-negotiable in your life, and hold a constant vision of what it is you want to achieve. See it accomplished and go all out. Find a way to win in spite of the setbacks, in spite of the disappointments, in spite of your failures. I tell people when I'm giving presentations, you will fail your way to success. I have a saying is life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. And so those experiences of going after goals that's beyond your comfort zone, and having relationships that will challenge you, and surrounding yourself with coaches and mentors who can take you to a place within yourself that you can't go by yourself, because you can't read the label when you're locked in the box. And so those experiences, they challenge you to go to that next level and continue to move forward in your life doing new and exciting things that eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has in store for you when you live a heart-centered life, deciding that you're going to live a life that will outlive you. You're going to live a life that counts, a life that will build a legacy and change the planet. You know, Horace Mann said, we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. And so my goal is to make a major contribution to humankind. I am a father of 10, 5 boys and 5 girls. So I'm suing the people who came up with the rhythm method. The rhythm method don't work. You know, I've got rhythm, but the rhythm method does not work, okay? And I have 15 grandchildren and 4 great-grandsons. And so every day when I get up, my mindset is, what is it that I can do to touch and impact somebody's life today? What is it? What does that look like? Like seeing you, I'm so excited. I started doing push-ups. I said, well, I'm going to go on. He's going to see that I got muscles too.
Man, what you've done with your mental muscles is so extraordinary. I don't know that you need to worry about anything else.
The other thing is, take full responsibility for your life. Accept where you are and the responsibility that you're going to take yourself where you want to go. Someone said we have 2 primary choices in life. We can either accept conditions as they exist, or we can take the responsibility to change them. See, a lot of people want to exempt themselves from taking responsibility. All they want to do is talk about the problem. Every time you see them, they'll tell you their story over and over and over and over again. No. You want to take responsibility for your life. I got me here, I can get me out of this. And I'm getting out. I'm not going to be a volunteer victim. George Bernard Shaw said there are 2 kinds of people in life. You know, he said those that make things happen, those that watch things happen, and those that don't know what happened. And he said the people that get along in this life look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they make them. They create them. So part of beginning to get unstuck, you've got to decide that the behavior pattern that you have adopted doesn't work for you. You've got to change your strategies, and changing your strategy means reinventing your life. Recreating you, and you have the power to do that. You can decide that you're going to change, that you're not going to be a wimp. You can decide that you're going to stand up to life. You can decide that I'm going to live each day as if it were my last. You have the power to make that decision. You can decide I'm going to work on myself and develop myself. I'm going to empower me. And all of these things that are happening to me right now, they're just temporary inconveniences. They're not stronger than I am. I'm in charge here. Next thing is, separate what you do from who you are. That's what the guilt trap is about. See, a lot of folk won't let you forget what you used to do or what you have done, what mistakes you've made. All of us have made some mistakes in life. All of us have done some things that if we had them to do over again, we wouldn't do it again. There are a lot of things that if I had it to do over again, if I knew then what I know now, I would have done it differently. Well, it didn't happen that way. And that's what you call life. I didn't do it like that. Oh, you don't want me to live that down, huh? You want to keep on putting that in my face about what I did. Guess what? I'm not interested. That's what I did then. Won't do it today, so you are picking on an innocent man. Hello. So as you're in the process of reinventing your life, write a description of the kind of person that you want to be. What are the things that you must overcome? What qualities about your personality you know that you're going to have to change because those particular characteristics are liabilities to you? What are your assets? What are your strong points? Look at and evaluating yourself to make that determination. Other thing is that in order to get out of a rut, we need some coaching. Find some trusted critics. People that you know care about you and love you. There's some things that keeps us from growing and getting out of ruts. Number one, we identify with feedback. We take it personal when someone wants to give us some feedback on where we are falling short and tell us about our blind spots. We want to have everything being positive about us. We're not perfect. It hurts. I have a friend who's a trusted critic. I don't like him, but I love him. He doesn't tell me the things I want to hear. He tells me what I need to hear so I can grow. It hurts. It hurts when he put me on the hot seat. I can't stand it. But that's the only way that I can grow. And I'm glad that he loves me enough to risk our friendship to tell me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. Get a support group, somebody that you can talk to. People who perhaps might have a similar problem. Support groups are very powerful, that you can share some of the challenges that you're going through. And it might be a situation where one person can give you an idea of how they handle that situation and create an opening for you. Begin to stimulate some possibilities in your mind on how you can resolve the problem. We can't grow by ourselves. As I mentioned before, we grow from people and projects. The other thing is about life, when things happen to you, when you permit things to use you, you can't change the past, but you can interpret. You can reinterpret how you see it. For years, I was going around with a heavy load on my shoulders, feeling bad because I was adopted, doing interviews for adoption agencies and foster homes. And I was on television once, and I told these people in this particular interview that I was given away, my twin brother and I, when we were 6 weeks of age. A friend of mine, fortunately, was listening to the program. And she said, Les, I'd like to have lunch with you. And so I went over to see her. She said, when a woman carries a baby for 9 months, feeling that life movement in her, it's automatic and natural for her to learn to love that baby, to expect it to come here when she bears the pain to bring it into the world. Your mother, Mamie Brown, when she came in to adopt you guys, she didn't go through that process. She looked at whoever your biological mother was and said, I'll take her. You weren't given away less. You were chosen with love.
I have a friend, and Mike Sims, he stopped looking at television for a year, and he became a millionaire. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna just focus on reading and meditating and journaling and exercise and praying and being focused on my dream and working with people that fit in this category, that they are positive, they are purposeful. That means they have a purpose and they're going in the direction that I'm going. They are productive. They're working on their stuff and they are profitable. They're making some stuff happen. This is some time. These blessings that God has granted us, we are to make something happen. we've got to create something that shows that this era is the most profitable, most productive, and purpose-driven era in our history because of how we've been blessed, because what God has bestowed upon us. We got a fresh start. And when you have a fresh start, you want to take advantage of that, doing the right thing, being excited about it. I remember Dr. Otis Moss, who was a classmate of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He said, blind celebration and empty sentimentality will not keep the dream alive. What is your dream? I remember Dr. Johnny Coleman out of Chicago, and she asked, what is your dream? It said, when is it a man or woman dies? And the answer was, when their dreams die. Some people never had a dream. They think in terms of getting a job. Well, that's not an option now. This is an entrepreneur's era. You have to create your own job. And you got it like that, whether you recognize that or not. New industries are in you. You were born with greatness in you and dreams in you. the ability in you to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. How do you know these things? Because you've been given authority and dominion over everything on the face of the earth. I got something to back me up with that. Is that right? Yes, the Word of God. He doesn't lie. You got it like that. Yeah. That's something. Yeah. I've got to decide to get excited about that. Somebody called me, are you watching the playoff? Watching somebody live their dreams? No, I know playoff what? Excuse me? Are you serious? This is our time. This is your time. I want you to take the time and think about that and reflect on your life. And say, speak, Lord, if you don't know what you're supposed to do next. If you don't know how you're going to take advantage of this time. Say, speak, Lord. Thy servant heareth thee, and he will. He will. He will. Just get still. Go for a walk or go for a drive or just unplug the computer, to turn it off and turn your phone off and just get still and create an opening in your thoughts. Don't worry about anything. Just be open. Just ask, speak to me, talk to me. I got a fresh start. Tell me what to do. Lead me. Listen to your heart. Lead me. Where your heart is, there your treasure is also. You are blessed. Thank you, Lord. Lead me. You said you'll never leave me nor forsake me. I need you now. Lead me. Tell me what to do. If I knew what to do, I would not be in this place. Help me interrupt my thinking, hack my brain, and allow me to hear your untarnished and unpolluted guidance. Please, Lord. Please, Lord. Thank you, Father, for this time. We have a fresh start. Your people need to be reminded, including me. I'm in that number. I got up this morning saying, what will I say? I'm speaking to myself. I'm not pointing fingers at anyone, and I'm sharing the conversation that you have put in me. We have a fresh start, a new beginning. There are people who have read history. We have a chance to write history. You have positioned us to do that. Oh, yes, you have. Yes. Thank you for this fresh start. Thank you for the courage to answer the call, the courage to be mindful that you're ordering our steps, the courage to call forth those things that be not as though they were, the courage to stand, the courage to have the faith and to know all is well. We give thanks. We give thanks. And so it is.
Where do we go to get that energy we need and that to keep our focus and to keep our drive?
Whenever you're moving from one level to the other and you have to reinvent yourself, the adjustment, it's very, very difficult. It's very, very challenging. And I think that you need to begin to remind yourself of your why. You know, Nietzsche said, if you know the why for living, if you know why you're doing something, it will empower you to endure anything that you're going through. When you're working in corporations, you're working in financial services, it's a very competitive area. It's very, very dynamic. This is the era that Peter Drucker calls the era of the 3 C's: accelerated change, overwhelming complexity, and tremendous competition. And so people are tensed and very, very stressed out. So how do you deal with that? And knowing why you do what it is that you do. The name of the game right now is perceptual and psychological. It's the mental adjustments that we must make in the midst of the difficulties. That's what leaders do. Leaders don't panic. They are not intimidated by the change. They're not intimidated by the difficulties. What they are empowered by it. I remember reading something that says not what you don't have is what you think you need that keeps you from handling the difficulties and the challenges of life. That we have everything we need within us to face and to deal with whatever we have at hand, because we're more powerful than anything that we're up against.
Now, these mental adjustments and this idea that I've got what I need, I mean, in some ways that represents who I am.
For many years, I was living a life that I was not designed to do. I'm designed to speak. That's what I do. But for 42 years, I'm 62 now, for 42 years, I was doing something I wasn't designed to do, because when I looked at what I wanted to do, that was to speak, to train, to empower people, that my inner conversation to myself was, Les Brown, you can't do that. You were labeled educable mental retarded in the 5th grade. You have no college training. You were born in an abandoned building on a floor. You don't even know your birth parents. You can't do that. You are DT. You were called the dumb twin. Those words became my reality for many years. And then someone came along and interrupted that conversation in my head and said, Mr. Brown, they tell me about to drop out of school. And I said, well, yes. Why? I can't, I'm not smart like my brother. And I'll never forget when we first met, I was in his class waiting on another student, and he came in and said, young man, go to his board and work this problem out for me. I said, sir, I can't do that. I'm not one of your students. He said, it doesn't matter. Follow my directions anyhow. And I said, I can't, sir. And he said, why? I said, sir, because I'm educable mentally retarded. He said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. So now this man changed how I saw myself. When I saw myself as the dumb twin, and that was the conversation in my head. That was given to me. That's what I believed. I accepted that. So the things that I was up against academically, they began to appear not as difficult as I thought they were, because now he empowered me. Before then, right before then, up to that point, the things that were placed before me, I would stumble, I would slow the class down, because I was convinced that I was dumb. I believed what they said to me. This guy came along and he changed my perception of myself. Someone said that people don't live life as it is, they live life as they are. And so what we have to do as leaders, I don't care where you are in customer service, managing people, that you have to do during the tough times, you have to bring the best out of you.
One of the things about you, Les, is that your life is such an example of what's possible. I mean, everybody, I want you to just picturing this about this beautiful man. I want you... he's born, his mother ends up giving him to adoption to Mamie, he and his brother. They live in these conditions. He's 10 years old. His mother has to go away for a while. He's got to support the family. He's had all these incidents he's had to observe up close. There are other ones with his mother when she's cleaning houses and this woman claps her hands because she's got to know when her mother's in her room because she's going to steal something, which his mother would never do. This man goes on to influence literally millions of people's lives. And then this is what's great about all of us making our dreams come true. When you make your dreams come true, the dreams of other people and dreams you can't picture also come true, because then he influences this goofy dude, me, 20-something years old, working at an orphanage, and it inspires me to change my life. So it's just, your life is such an example. And what's interesting to me, Les, is it was mainly tied to mom, meaning you wanted to do something great for your mother all your life. And that was bigger, I think, than any obstacle that got in your way. I'd like you to share this with people, because I think most people don't understand the power of having something big you're going after that means more to you than the pain you're going to have to go through in order to get it. I don't think enough people set huge, big goals that are from the heart. Don't you agree?
Yes, you said that. I was listening to you last night. You know, Dexter Yeager, as you know from Amway, he said if the dream is big enough, the odds don't matter. And so when you say dream big, that's major. One, there's power in pursuit, because as Jim Rohn said, it's not the accomplishment of the goal that matters. It's what you become in pursuit of the dream in the process. Because when you have a big dream, it will introduce you to a part of yourself that you don't know right now, that you will never discover in your comfort zone. Because in order to achieve that dream, you've got to die to who you are now. I must die daily. You must die to who you are now to give birth to who you are to become. I believe that all of us have stories of greatness in us. And follow me as I say this, as this download. We all have stories of greatness within us. In the beginning was the Word. Thou shalt decree a thing, and shall be established unto you. When shall the kingdom of God come? Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. When shall it come? The kingdom of God cometh not by observation. They shall say, is neither lo there, lo here. Behold, the kingdom of God is within you. And that kingdom is voice activated. So when you speak, people who are in a dark place, you will bring them out into the light. When you speak, somebody's got a gun to their head. When you speak, they'll realize life is God's gift to me, and how I live my life is my gift to God. When you speak, someone who's depressed and feeling anxious will remember, be anxious for nothing. I'll keep thee in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. So that's the power that you bring. And all the products that you have on YouTube that I mean, how ironic. They said, coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous. I've been so marinated listening to your stuff. And then you've been listening to me. Come on, look at God. What a mighty God we serve. Come on. You can't make this stuff up.
That's like my honor to think that you listening to my stuff. I got to tell you,
Yeah.
you guys, you just get what I told you all, you just have this treasure. It's like, you never want to stop hearing from Les. He's just remarkable. And the way you pull things and download them from all these places is it's mind blowing. I wish I were that great.
You are the messenger and you are the message. That's made, you got people who are speaking out here. It's been hijacked with speaking to sell. We sell people on their greatness. We sell people on the things that they need to do now, the methods, the techniques, the strategy to create the next greatest version of themselves. And when we do that, we know that when we make that kind of impact, we know that we're in the place of what Leo Tolstoy, the Russian author, he said, what in the meaning and purpose of my life that will not be undone and destroyed when I'm gone? And the people that listen to your program and their mind and their vision has been expanded, you give them a vision of themselves beyond the adversities of what they're experiencing in this place where we are right now, and help them to begin to live their life from a place of optimism, that they're going to impact other people, and those people are going to impact other people. And this work that you, as much as you have chosen this, you were chosen for this, and this work will not be undone. You're going to impact generations yet unborn.
You know, you've spoken a lot about, the mental state that we have to embody, and, being mentored, being coached, being in stillness. But when you have been in moments of being really tested and you felt as though, the whole world is coming against you, Les, do you still maintain those principles, or do you lose your cool sometimes?
I am so glad you asked that question. One of the things that I share and I coach people, ask for help. We all have our moments in the Garden of Gethsemane. Ask for help, not because you're weak. Most people won't ask for help because of pride. Pride cometh before a fall. Because of ego. Ego to me means edging God out. Ask for help, not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong. And ask for help, and don't stop until you get it. All of us have had life knock us senseless, where we didn't even know what day it was. We forgot our name because life just overwhelmed us. We all have those kinds of moments. But there are people around us that can help us get through There are people that can speak to us when we can't hear our own voice, that can remind us that we're more than conquerors, that God has not left us. He's still with us. Sometimes I have friends that I call and ask, would you pray for me, please? People that I've inspired, people that I've motivated and came to my rescue because I got sucker punched by life. And I needed some help to get me back on my feet. Can you help me? Remind me that I'm the motivator, because life jumped on me. Say, are you the motivator? No, somebody lied on me. Oh, this thing, Candace, is more than a notion. You hear me? Oh my goodness. Wow. Yes, it made me cry. Look at you. You crying. Guess what, motivator? What this is? What? The world's smallest violin. Polo ting. Oh, I'm human. And sometimes it gets me. But I don't stay long. I have this thing, if life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. But I just keep getting back up.
Oh, Liz, I love it. And, you know, speaking on the topic, you know, you've lived such an incredible life. Are there any things that you look back over your life and regret?
Yes, that I did not believe in myself sooner. I regret that, because I spent years believing in the vision, that limited vision, the culture. See, whoever you're around between the ages of 0 and 5, according to Martin Seligman in the book called Learned Optimism, between 0 and 5, we develop a word in our heart. That word is either yes or that word is no. So I came up in a culture, Candace, where they used to have signs on Miami Beach that said Jews, dogs, and coloreds not allowed. I came up in a culture that you were not allowed to look a white person in the eyes. I came up in a culture that for over 300 years, they had laws that said a black man has no rights in which a white man has to respect. I came up in a culture for 300 years that if you were black, got caught learning how to read, that was a capital offense. They would hang you. Came up in a culture where over 3,000 black men were lynched for brushing up against a horse of a white man. Came up in a culture that my grandmother, that I just discovered, taught herself to read by reading the papers that were used to insulate the cabin that she lived in and worked for a white family. But she had as an article about her read, she had a hunger to learn. And they have the Beulah Rucker Museum in Gainesville, Florida. I just discovered that last year at 76. And she was a speaker. And my birth mother, Dorothy Rucker, was a motivational speaker. And she raised 2 of my brothers that I did not know. And none of them are like her. And they look at me and their eyes get teary and say, my God, you never saw her and you're just like her. How do you explain that? And I say, look at God. I don't know. Maybe that's why he said, lean not unto thine own understanding. We all have it. All of us are born the same way, dumb, naked, and speechless. But you've got to focus it. You got to put effort in it, and you got to work it. Commit thy works unto the Lord, of thy thoughts shall be established. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. And I'm being directed. I'm committed. I chose to live a God-guided life. Don't come for me. Don't come for me, because I'm not the one.
Oh, no one is coming for you, Les Brown. No one's coming unless you send for them.